I just had a cinnamon roll, so let's strike while the iron's hot. Asus sent over their new... Oh, no. But when are we getting the refresh of the Ally pillow? But seriously, we're here to talk today about the new Asus ROG Xbox Ally and the ROG Xbox Ally X. We're going to be unboxing both of these bad boys today, taking a quick first look overview of the device. I'm going to recommend that you watch Zoo's video from our channel as well, from Zoo Reviews, to do a more in-depth look at the Z2A model here. This is the base model starting at $600 USD, where today's video is going to be more focused on the Z2 Extreme. This puppy comes in at $1,000 USD, so does it warrant that giant price tag? Sure, it has a built-in full-screen Xbox experience, trying to compete with the likes of the Steam Deck and SteamOS, which makes it so convenient. You turn it on, you play your games, but it's a big ask for the money, and so is it worth it? Stay tuned for more content from us as we dig further into this brand new generation of Xbox handhelds. All right, everybody, let's hop in. Now, Xbox went ahead and kind of went off and did their own things. What they've done here is taken the original ROG Ally X device and basically added grips to it. The APU in here is going to be pretty much a rebranded Van Gogh chip that we saw in the Steam Deck. Some modifications, a little bit of power efficiency, some subtle changes, but that's basically what you're going to be seeing on offer with this model. Nope, went into the spiders. Truth be told, I have already gotten hands-on a bit with this. I was in New York City with some other YouTube reviewers recently, and we were looking at the demo units here before we flew back to go ahead and do these videos. But yeah, I just thought this base model is very, very comfortable. I like the weight of it. It feels good in the hands. This one's rocking a little bit smaller battery, but you get a nice trade-off with a lighter weight device. It's very comfortable and ergonomic with these grips, though. Is it travel friendly? Now that's up for debate. They do have a companion case that you can get that is a nice fit for this, and I'm going to be ordering one of those myself. Now I love that we have the grit on the shoulders. That feels really nice. L1 and R1 both feel good, quiet, clicky there. Face buttons and the D-pad feel very similar to what we saw on the Ally X. Rob, the Retro Tech Dad, and I were taking a deeper look at this in our hotel room, and basically what we came up with is there are subtle changes to the membrane under the D-pad, or so we think. Maybe we're crazy, but it does feel like a slight improvement on that pivot on that D-pad. It just feels a bit better. Face buttons feel about the same to me compared to the Ally X. And yeah, see, this does not pivot as well. This is a little bit stiffer. We have that same screen that we saw on the Ally X, being a 7-inch 120 hertz display, which is VRR capable, and it is an IPS. We'd love to see OLED in here like Lenovo Legion Go 2. All things considered though, the screen, tried and true, not bad. Joysticks feel good, pretty much feel the same as the Ally X to me. One thing that I always appreciate seeing is front firing speakers, same that we see here. We'll see because it has a little bit bigger body, more space to have a little bit of resonating chamber, so it has that improved. Fan intake, fan outtake. Always love to see that they include a stand for the handheld just built right in there, so you can take that out if you want. And this does come with a 65-watt charger, but we'll take a look at that deeper in here. It should be the same charger between these two. Okay, so here's the focus today. Their new high-end model, the Asus ROG Xbox Ally X. Now, Microsoft went ahead and kind of took the Ally X, and they went and did some modifications to it. They've launched it with this new Xbox Fullscreen Experience, which is still pretty early days. We've taken a look at some early builds for it. It's impressive in what it does. Basically, it's Windows, and it's stripping out a lot of the background processes. You're not running the Explorer shell or any of those big bloaty things like antivirus and things like that on there. You're just launching straight into an Xbox UI. And in practice, we're going to see, does that live up to something like SteamOS, which has years of development behind it? And they say they're going to keep on releasing updates for this. So even if it's not their day one, do we think that they're going to get there? I want to have faith. I want to have faith that they will. Now, I don't see Microsoft making more Xbox consoles. They really seem to be going more towards just their Game Pass model of getting that to work on as many devices as they can. There were also rumors that they had planned an actual Microsoft Xbox handheld, but that has since been scrapped because they didn't think that they could sell, 10 million units, something like that. They're looking at Steam Deck sales, other sales. They didn't think they would hit that quota, and they said, well, never mind, we're just going to do this collaboration. It's kind of like a halfway step to getting an Xbox, a true Xbox handheld. So 7-inch FHD, so you got 1080p. This does have the AMD Ryzen AI Z2 Extreme. Can't remember, you can't forget the AI in there, the AI Z2 Extreme. While not a generational leap over the Z1E, there is a decent amount of power that you're getting here. This does have a terabyte of PCIe SSD storage in here, 24 gigabytes of onboard RAM, so the same we saw on the Ally X, same storage as well. This comes equipped with a Wi-Fi 6E chip in it, USB 4.0, Windows 11 Home. The review unit here is going to be having a Windows experience at first. I'm going to have to go through hours of updates. I already watched Rob on the Retro Tech Dad's channel go through those updates, and it will take hours. But hopefully when it hits you all at retail, you won't need to go through as much of the updates, and you can just, open it up and play it. It's probably going to need some work there, but hopefully it's minimal. We have the 80 watt hour battery in this one compared to the 60 watt hour battery. That's what it is. 60 watt hour battery, the 4-cell 60 watt hour battery in the Xbox Ally. Whew, these names get confusing. So you can power it. Looks like they're intending for the power to go into that first USB slot. This one we will look at the power charger. Look at that bad boy, 65 watts all day. Let's frickin' go. So there's some really cool reflections that happen here. So there's little tiny Xbox logos, or little tiny Xbox things. Now it says, what does it say? XOBO, XO, ROG Expo? Xorg. I don't know what that means. So now it should be as simple as, yep, that's what you wanted to see. Press once. Aha. Ha ha. We have turned on the Xbox Ally X. But this is going to be pretty much the same as the regular base Ally Xbox. So the same triggers, everything feels the same. The only difference is that it has an 80 watt hour battery, better chip inside of it, and it does have a little bit more weight because of that battery. So it's well balanced though, like it is very nicely balanced weight. I appreciate that. Yeah, better pivot on that D-pad again compared to the OG. Let's just do, we should do some size comparisons, right? So you have the classic RGB lighting on there, but I mean, this is nice and compact. So again, if you have this already, I don't know that you'd want to spend $1,000 to get this. It's not a huge leap. We're going to do some testing to be sure of that. But again, from what we've seen so far, it's not going to be the huge leap. I love my Ally X, man. Like, I love this device. You can put Bass8 on here. You can put SteamOS. You can kind of do what you want with the device. And it's lightweight. In comparison, it has a little more simple ergonomics. But yeah, just a little more travel friendly. And this you're going to be adding on, I mean, admittedly better comfort, like better ergonomics. Definitely. That feels very nice in hands, like very nice. It's not digging into my hands, which I appreciate. It's just about right. It's kind of the Goldilocks for ergonomics. So they pulled that off well. Some people are saying, why add on the grips? Maybe it does, because now it looks better, but no, it really is going to be for that ergonomic comfort. Okay, so we're met with the Windows setup stuff now. So I'm going to go ahead and turn this off so we can do some comparisons. It's like the MSI Claw 8 AI Plus. So this is very simple. This is some of the worst ergonomics of any Windows handheld I've ever used. But this is that Lunar Lake 258V chip inside of it. So this is considered, the most beastly performance on the market. Speaking of MSI Claws, the original Claw, which is the same body just about as the 2nd Gen 7 AI Claw, while not amazing anymore, it still has awesome speakers. The grip is pretty solid, and just all around, it's been one of my favorite PC handhelds, still to this day. Moving on to another brand, we have Lenovo with their beautiful nebula color purple here on the Lenovo Legion Go S with that Z2 Go chip in there. Nice big 8-inch screen. Love that. I really enjoy this. Okay, this has SteamOS built in, so you turn this bad boy on, it is basically almost a Steam Deck, even more powerful. And the battery life is okay. That's really the worst part of this one. Just not amazing. Speakers are also not amazing, but this is comfortable, you know, pretty good ergonomics. And I don't love the shoulders as much, but yeah, this is just turn it on, you play your games, play your Steam library. Cool, love it. If you want to go old school, Anbernic's 2023 Windows handheld entry, the Win600, which is probably what you all really are here to see. You want all the spreadsheets, you want PS1 games with great freaking D-pad action, this is for you. Jokes aside, I still like this. I actually went out of my way to get this back in my collection. I traded with Zoo, my Conquer Pocket Fit. Call me crazy, but there's just something about it. And looking at the mainstream option, because there's another handheld in the block, and that of course is the Nintendo Switch 2, which maybe you're thinking like, I just want a handheld console. I don't even know if I want PC games or Nintendo games. I don't care, like what is a good option? This is half the price, popular. This is the easiest thing to use. You just buy games and you play games. Probably not the most ergonomic, but there's all sorts of accessories. Elephant in the room though is none of these screens are freaking OLED minus this Steam Deck OLED here. So even though this is a lower powered chipset in 2025, it's the exact same chipset that's in the new Xbox Ally base model. And this still just gets it done. You turn it on, you freaking play your games. And that's my favorite thing about it. Ergonomics as well are pretty solid. There's so many accessories to make it better. It's good. It's just freaking good. I would recommend most people just get a Steam Deck, bro. But this is the champ as far as ergonomics goes. Really is. Like, wow, that feels real good. Real nice. Real nice.
All right, one other thing I thought was super cool is they have this green check mark here for games that'll say handheld optimized. Well, if it's optimized for the handheld, there's going to be a blue mark there if it's, partial, but green is good and Xboxable.
All right, we're all set up. Updates have been run. It's great. They still have Armory Crate on here alongside this Xbox Fullscreen Experience. Plugged in, it does look like we can have SPL up to 35 watts, SPPT up to 45, and FPPT, that boost speed, all the way up to 55 watts. If we unplug, we're running on that 80 watt hour battery now, and let's see our maxes here. Well, even on battery, it looks like we can still, if we wanted, push it up to 55 watts. Not that that would yield the best battery life. All right, it does look like we have CPU stats here, GPU stats, fan speed, we have Eco Assist, so extreme standby mode. This is still not true standby like we see on Android devices, but they have worked on this, and battery life has been good. I let this run overnight, stay on, and I didn't lose that much, like maybe 10% at most. Even when I went to a dental appointment today and I let it download some games, it went to sleep. I was gone for, 2 hours or so, and I'd lost maybe 3%. I didn't even put it to sleep, so it just went to standby at some point. We have modern standby assistant, CPU boost, all sorts of fun GPU settings. You can actually manually change the GPU memory allocation here if you want, all the way up to 16 gigs. Now, again, this is the 24 gigabyte, 1 terabyte X model. The base model has 16 gigs total of actual RAM. And that is memory you're assigning directly to that GPU. You got RSR, the fluid frames, anti-lag, boost, Radeon chill, and you can access all this from the quick settings. So speaking of quick settings, you do have Armory Crate quick settings here. You can adjust many of those settings. You can add on all of these different quick options. By default, it only has a few, so I had to manually, add all of these. But hey, CPU boost we have on. You could save some battery life if you're playing indies and turn that off. I do recommend leaving that on. You might need that power when unexpectedly from time to time. We do have RGB lighting around these joysticks. You can mess around with that. Refresh rate, just like the other ROG Ally devices. In the previous handhelds, we have a switch between 60 Hz, 120 Hz, 1080p, 720p, and also they have a 900p option. Using the 720p alongside the AMD RSR option will net you a higher resolution, but better performance since you're technically running the game at 720p. If you want 120 FPS in many of the games, that's probably the way you want to go. Real-time monitor, all that good stuff. I'm leaving it in performance mode for the most part. I can bump it up to turbo though when I do need that extra power. Now, if you press the Xbox button, you get access to some unique Xbox stuffs. You can go in here, install in your library the Xbox app, which does come on here. It took a while to install and get to the latest version, but now we have this Xbox experience. We have Steam there, Battle.net, Ubisoft Connect. You're going to need that for some games, for the Game Pass, Ubisoft, GOG Galaxy, and there's, of course, Armory Crate, which comes on here. If you hold the Xbox button, it's going to take you to this task manager view where you can close apps that you're not using or switch between them. So this is all that's running on this system. As far as we're seeing, we're just running the core services. We're running the Xbox Fullscreen Experience. You're not seeing Windows. So I really like that. You know, it boots right into this. I use the fingerprint reader and it gets me right in there. I don't need to put in my password, all that. After a reboot, you do, but if you're just turning it on after a while from standby, no, check it out. Say, okay, it's asleep. Login screen, fingerprint, boom, I'm in. Navigate to your game. It says jump right back in. Even if you are playing on Steam, it has the Game Pass games here as well, but even Steam games are going to show up as an option under your library here. So you can see we have Clair Obscure through Steam. We have Elden Ring installed, Firewatch, Megabonk. We got to try that out. And Assassin's Creed Mirage we have through Ubisoft, through Game Pass. Even Heroes of Might and Magic 3, because come on, hell yeah. Also, cloud gaming does seem to work pretty well, so let's dive into that. And so, you know, here's where I think the base model comes in nicely. Sure, it'll play games. It's about the Steam Deck's level of performance, but I think it might pair really well with using the Xbox Cloud, which you do get the cloud now with the premium pass, which you get 3 months of that here. Also, the speakers on this, I'm surprised, are pretty dang good. I mean, they're not quite as good as the MSI Claw 8 or the OG Claw with how the bass feels, but you can really feel the sound, you know, in the grips, and you can feel it. It's almost like a secondary rumble. It's pretty nice. And there is vibration in these triggers. They call these impulse triggers. And they say the impulse triggers are on the Ally X. I guess not the base Ally. That's interesting. And as far as RAM goes in this unit, it's going to be 24 gigs, the LPDDR5 at 8,000 megahertz dual channel RAM. On the X here, we're seeing a 1 terabyte PCIe Gen 4 M.2 2280. You can upgrade it yourself if you want. This is just not working, huh? You've got to be kidding me, dude. Frustration. I don't know why the controller wasn't working. It's still not working. So same screen on both models. On the screen, we are again looking at 120 hertz refresh rate with VRR, FreeSync Premium, Corning Gorilla Glass, Victus, plus coming DXC anti-reflection, Wi-Fi 6E, Bluetooth 5.4, USB 4 Type-C, DisplayPort 2.1, Power Delivery 3.0. They do have a micro USB reader there for your SD cards. I have not heard of any concerns so far of issues like we had with those Gen 1 Allies. And would you look at those decode times? 0.5 on average. A little bit of ping here, about 9 milliseconds. Not bad at all. A little bit of jitter. Bit rates at 23.2. We are looking at a 1440p streaming resolution from the Xbox Cloud. Freaking fantastic. FPS is going to be at 60 here. So we can still get better locally. Of course, we can do up to 120. So the bit rate now has dropped to 9.7, so you can definitely see some artifacting there. The vibration in the triggers, like it all feels just very good. Since I've been playing it since last night when I was filming before, you know, I just noticing just the comfort and the ergonomics of this blows pretty much every other PC handheld out of the water. They're going big on the ergonomics on this. They're going big on the grips. They're saying, hey, here we are. We got grips. We're going to make a statement, and it is comfortable. It's interesting they went with this design. They say it's inspired by an Xbox controller, but what's funny is that this is not the D-pad you would see on an Xbox controller. Well, it's really what you see on the Claw 8 here. Isn't that interesting? It almost makes me wonder, maybe this was going to be the Xbox handheld and something happened along the way. I don't know. The Fox had some crazy conspiracy theories he was telling me about this. That does look like the D-pad, and they integrated it into the game bar and all that. MSI, so. But what's cool is that we can load this experience, Xbox Fullscreen, onto the Claw. We can load the Fullscreen experience onto the original Asus ROG Ally and Ally X. Like, you really can have the same experience, but you'll lose out on some of these benefits, and you know, it's tailor-made more towards this. Anyways, yeah, this is solid latency. Not really feeling it here on the cloud. Yeah, this is near GeForce Now level quality. They have made improvements. People were telling me this, and okay. I'm getting like a little bit of, I don't know, perspiration in the grips here as I'm playing. I guess because I'm getting into it. You know, heat is not bad, but let's take a look. 28.8, 32. Okay. What about in the grips? 32 as well. So there is some heat transferring to the grips. I thought so. Listen to the sound of these speakers though. They are tuned in the Dolby Atmos settings for game mode by default. Game mode performance settings. So it's going to have the audio be directed at what's going on in the game in the virtual surround field. If you want to quit, just hold the Xbox button there and you can say close, or you can do the official method, quit the game. I am pleasantly surprised. I have not been impressed by Xbox Cloud for a long time. GeForce Now has been the go-to, but they have made improvements. That's just streaming though. If we want to look at playing locally on the device, for instance, through Game Pass, when you get Game Pass, you get access to a bunch of these games. If you do the Ultimate, which I currently have enabled at the moment, you're going to get day one access to, a lot of your games. You also get this Ubisoft Plus classics. You're going to be getting as well some like Xbox points and Fortnite stuff. There's a lot of stuff they're trying to entice you with basically to get this. And it's all well and good. But I do think it's a little pricey. Not just a little bit, I think it's very pricey. So if we look at the tiers, and they definitely throw it right in your face here, so Ultimate, yeah, $30, you get all the games, about 500 games they're saying. Oh, so you get less games with the Premium. Premium's half the price. Okay, let's take a look at Doom, The Dark Ages. So on this one, we were not hitting 120 FPS or even 60 FPS at 1080p. And so I'm going to boost this up to turbo mode. So we're going to go to the max right there. In handheld mode, off the cord. We're going to drop this down to 720. We are going to turn on FSR. Sorry, we are going to turn on RSR. And let's see what we can do here. We're still at 100% battery life. So that 80 watt hour battery is a honker in here. Oh my goodness. Temps were at 56 degrees Celsius. So a little higher on those temps. Oh yeah, that sounds awesome. The speakers do sound awesome though. Like you don't get quite as much of the bass in those like V4 rubbers you got in the Claw 8, but man, it's immersive. The virtual surround sounds great. I've actually tuned the speakers a bit more in Dolby Atmos, which you can access from the Windows side, which if you want to access that again, you just go over to the Windows desktop and boom, it's going to load the desktop. Only thing about going to the desktop is once you're over there, you're going to have to restart the device to get back. You don't have to restart the device, but you need to restart the device to get the full optimized experience because you're going to have stuff running in the background now if you switch to Windows. But when you're over in Windows, you can go to your Dolby and you can mess with the speakers. And here are my settings that I've found to be super immersive that work for both music, for videos, and for gaming. That's kind of like my tuning for my EQ. And I turn the virtualizer off for music, on for gaming. Volume leveler is good to have. So we're gonna turn that on and we're gonna go back to the game. So this is fluid, even though it's coming down to, again, about 29 FPS. There's something about having good haptics plus good speakers in something that can truly perform with a fast refresh rate. I wanna get this higher, hold on. I guess we'll drop it to 60. Let's get our performance metrics on. Oh God. No. Hey, what's going on? Are you having a good day? You got a case of the Mondays? See you later. Dabadoo! Alright. Well, FPS wants to stay around 30, so I think what we should do actually for this one might do is go more like high settings from ultra high, which we're at now. That way we can go ahead and lock in at 30 with the highest resolution, go to 1080p. That's what I might do. So what happens if we give it a little more juice? Okay, so manual mode, yes. We're gonna go full balls to the wall. Here we go. By the way, if you want to hear fans, I'm turning the volume down in the game. Here is what the fans sound like when they are kicked on in full blast. So even with all the extra power and oomph, we're still barely cracking 50 we're not even cracking 50 FPS. But here's the fan. Not too loud, and there's no whine about the fan. It's a pleasant fan sound. They get fairly decently loud there if you're going to be jacking it up all the way, but let's see if we can get above 45. Plugged in on the max 55 watt boost performance mode. Oh, I guess we're doing Windows updates now. Of course we are. You think you're out of Windows and then they pull you back in. So far, just really nice experience as far as actually playing the games. I've spent much more time though setting it up, running updates. This feels more portable, but it's hard to beat for dual stick gaming, for first person shooters, having the actual Xbox style handles. It's really hard to beat that experience. I think it's worth the trade-off. They have pulled off the ergonomics, and that's one of the main things I look for in a handheld, because no matter how much power you have in one of these things, no matter how good it might be in its speakers and its screen, anything else, if it's not comfortable to hold and you don't want to hold it for very long or take it on the go with you, and it's not going to work for that, what are you doing? What am I doing? I'm going to pick something else up that's more comfortable to hold. Okay, so let's jump back in. I love that it has the recent games, so you can just jump right back in where you're playing. It boots straight into the Xbox experience. Much like the Steam Deck, you jump in, you play your games. I've tried to disable all notifications, things that might pop up. I don't want to be disturbed while I'm gaming. I don't want any pop-ups. I don't want any Windows BS at any time during the day from any of it, including myself. Well, that's cool. So after I restarted, it remembered that I wanted to be in manual mode. If you plug it in, you're going to get immediate access to 35 watts on turbo mode. So if I unplug it, we're going to get 25, right? Yeah, okay, unplug 25, plug it in, and turbo mode is going to be at 35 watts. Manual mode. Oh, look at this. You get quick access to the freaking manual settings from right here too. Oh, that is good. That is good. And you can apply it from right there. Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Now, what is that? I don't want to see that. What do we... No. Why does that notification come up? Okay, so everything maxed out. Yeah, 720p, 60 hertz, plugged in. I don't know why, but we're actually getting a little bit worse performance. Let's let it think for another second, because that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, that's very interesting. We're getting a little bit worse performance. Now it's starting to come back up. Okay, oh, we're jumping up to 50. Let's unplug. What do we get now? We get access to turbo, still at 40. That looks good. Yeah, you don't really lose that much actually from 35 down to 25.
Thing I wanted to mention about just TDP in comparison to the Z1 Extreme. We're going to be putting a graphic on screen right here that just shows the difference. So, okay, this kind of matches up with what I was seeing here. So 25 watts, Z1E versus Z2E, negligible difference. Really 10% if anything, not much, right? But look at this, 17 watts between these games here. Now that is a pretty decent improvement. Not amazing, but 17 watts, more or less on the Z2E is what we saw at 25 watts on the Z1E as far as I can tell here. More to come. Really have just begun to scratch the surface on benchmarking this thing, but it is interesting to note. 17 watts though should be pretty solid. I don't think you're going to gain much from being in the 25, and definitely not from the 35 watt range. What was that, a 5% difference we saw there? Not much. So 17 watts I still think is going to be the ideal kind of general purpose setting for most people.
This game is very fun. We're able to hit 120 FPS, no problem on this. Blast music, hell yeah, brother. Let's go. Turn it up. Speaker test. Random impromptu speaker test. Listen to that! If you want to load up Steam as well, just press your Xbox button. You can go straight here to Steam and launch it, much like you can launch your other gaming apps. Now, this launched in not big picture mode, so we're probably going to have to go into settings and tell it to start in big picture mode. A little bit of jank. It'd be nice if they could tune this so, you boot it in, you put in your name, your information, your login for Microsoft and Steam and whatnot, and then it just launches you here. But I think we're going to have to define that straightforward, it looks like. You know, emulation is another thing to look at on here. That's not something we're going to look at today, but in follow-up content. You can also pair this, by the way, with their new eGPU, the XG Mobile, fancy new one that they have that has up to a 5090 in it. I tried it out at the New York event. Really cool. That'll work for this, but it won't work for the base model, so realize that as well. Okay, so we're on turbo mode still. We're getting about 58 FPS there. We are at a turbo mode 25 watt TDP. If you swipe from the right, it pulls up the regular Windows notifications stuff in the calendar. Okay, that's okay. Oh, now we're opening the clock. It needs an update. Oh, Windows clock needs an update right now. Okay. Why? Windows, we just want to do Xbox. We don't want an updated clock. Our clock's fine. Ah! Many are wondering, can you pocket this? And the answer is no. Unless you have Janko genes, then actually yes. You know, it's just cool. You have access to your Game Pass library in here. And again, it's not unique to this device, but it does feel pretty well paired with it. My daughter loves Goat Simulator, and I'm working my way through Hollow Knight, although this loaded in the Xbox version, and so I gotta restart my save file, but I wanted to try that. And you get Xbox redemption points and all that, and you get hooked into that ecosystem. You can redeem that for store credit and get other games and gift cards. And you know, I get what Xbox and Microsoft are trying to do here, and I think it's admirable. It's kind of funny merging this with Steam to basically combine a Steam Deck with an Xbox, but it's not bad. But is it worth $1,000 is the question. So as we wrap up here, I want to leave you with that thought. Is this experience here to you worth $1,000 USD? Maybe more if you're in other countries as well and shipping and all that. But think about tariffs, although I think the tariff price is baked in here for US buyers. But is this worth it to you? Or are you better suited to spending about $600, having an awesome streaming handheld with all the power of the Steam Deck, playing all your indies just fine, a little bit lighter weight experience, a little less battery life, less RAM, no impulse trigger rumble. I wouldn't say that that's a deal breaker either to not have that. It feels nice, but isn't necessary. Something to decide for yourself. Many will be better suited by handhelds they already have. If you already have a PC handheld, you can go ahead and load on this Xbox Fullscreen Experience for yourself, like the Ally X, like the Claw 8. I think it's going to pair really nicely with that. Even on the original MSI Claw and the AI 7. The only one you're probably not going to be doing the Xbox Experience on anytime soon is going to be the original Steam Deck. But if you load Windows on here, which you could do, technically you could make this happen. But I wouldn't do it. Or maybe you're a gamer who just wants the most casual experience possible and you get a Switch 2. Or you want another simple Steam-like experience in the Lenovo Legion Go S or the upcoming Lenovo Legion Go 2 with an OLED screen. But this takes the cake for ergonomics. It takes the cake for comfortable freaking joysticks when you're gaming. Like you can feel as you're moving around, especially like when I was playing Call of Duty earlier, like your joystick precision just feels so good. So good. You know, we have no stick drift in these sticks. You don't have to worry about that technology they use in these days. And the D-pad as well feels very solid. I'm able to move to that without an issue. Very quiet L1 and R1. I love that. I love the feel of that. Precise. Feels good on my hands. A little bit of grit on the shoulders there as well. The analog triggers. Feels fantastic. I don't ever use these extra buttons they have on the back of these handhelds. I just never seem to make use of them, but they're there. You can program those and have them be what you want. The grip and the grittiness on the shell, I like. It's a very matte plastic. I'm not seeing fingerprints get left on here or smudges. The speakers sound nice. They're front firing. Battery life has been very nice. I mean, look at this. I've been filming this video, the second half of it here for, gosh, I don't know. Let's see, about an hour. Now we had it on power a little bit too, but nevertheless, 9% battery drain. That's nice. And we're at 120 FPS here. Love that the TDP controls go all the way from low to up to 35 watts plugged in. And if you want to do some some more lightweight indie gaming and you want to get the most battery life possible out of here, well, you have that option for you if you want. You can go into your Armory Crate. You can go in and dial down your TDP controls all the way down to 7 watts, 13 and 19. Well, I mean, let's try that, right? So dropping down to 7 watt TDP, we're actually only dropping our FPS by nothing. We're still able to hit 120 FPS in Silksong. Anyways, I'm impressed by this. It all kind of comes together just right for what I'm looking for in a PC handheld, and I'm even comfortable saying with how much better the speakers are on here and the comfort level. How many Windows handhelds do we need to own here? Most people, none, but the hobbyists, probably 1 or 2, right? A Steam Deck, and maybe you have an Xbox dedicated handheld now. So maybe we don't need this anymore, and this, and this, and everything else. I'd be happy just using this. It's just that I've become emotionally attached to all these, and that's a whole nother problem for another day to deal with. And we do have display out if you want to use that option. Heat and the temps stayed fairly nominal. Again, 32 degrees Celsius we saw there on the grips. So my hands did get a bit warm. So I'd like to manually get that fan curve up higher, just push out more air for myself. There are accessories if you're interested as well. Do check those out. They have a travel case. They have a dock available too. They have an ROG controller, which I tried out. It's very interesting, very clicky, not bad. XG Mobile, powerhouse. Combined with this, you got a freaking 5090. You can replace your desktop PC and everything with this bad boy. But there's lots of options, and let me know in the comments below, what do you enjoy with your Windows handheld? Is this one that you want to pick up, or is there a better alternative that you prefer? Why not? Always enjoy talking with you all and hearing your opinions about things. Well, everybody, let's get out of here. Once again, I want to thank you all so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share to stay in the know for all of your favorite retro handhelds. And a special thanks once again to our channel members, our patrons, and our subs who make everything here possible for us. Perks with RH start for as little as $3 per month. Join us in our Discord to chat and play games, and join me in the next video for the Ally X. We're going to be taking a look at more stuff, more games, maybe some emulation. Let's just go balls to the wall. This thing's pretty neat. I want to take a look at the base model again as well and see, like, okay, what is the best use case? I do think Xbox streaming is going to be paired pretty nicely with that at that lower price point too. But until then, this has been Stubbs saying, take care of your handhelds, everybody, and each other. Bye.